Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the SH Figuarts Master Asia from Neo, Hong Kong. If you don't believe me, it says it right there. This is the packaging. It's actually really nice packaging. It's one of the better looking packages that I've seen from actually any company in a while. It's a little bit out of the ordinary with this really fancy backing card. And then just looks really cool. So it is from the character's from G-Gundam. That's what's up there. And he goes with, not necessarily, but would be ideal to go with the Master Gundam, which is a robot Damashi figure. We'll review that separately, of course. You guys are here to look at the SH Figuarts figure, which we will do. And this guy, they showed him off a long time ago, and he's got some of the more recent, unless they've just been keeping them from more recent figures, some of the more recent figures, and they've been using them. Anyway, he's got some really nice, new-ish looking designs and elements, and I'll point those out as we go. And maybe they've just been sitting on them for certain figures, I don't know, but they're really cool. And the first time I've seen them is on Broly, and now on this guy. Anyway, let's get into it. He stands almost exactly 6 inches tall, so he's definitely got some good size to him. I wish I had the old Domon figure that they put out a long time ago. I don't. I will be getting the new Street Clothes Domon, so that'll be good enough. This guy comes with a pretty wide array, well, not really a wide array. He's got a decent spread of accessories. The hair is technically one because it comes off of him in the package, and that's because you can pop it out and put it on the alternate head. I'll show you that in a second, but it connects with a little ball peg, so you can pose it around. Unfortunately, it's not bendable. That would have been ideal, but it is posable, so that's pretty good. One of the accessories that's already on him is his belt. You can snap him apart like this, and I really don't like this. It feels like it's going to break. Probably won't, but you're supposed to snap that apart, and you take the belt off, and then you can put this piece on, which gives him the no belt look. And the reason you can do that, and you have to put him back together, of course. Come on. Yeah, it feels like it's going to break. I don't like that. It scares me, but just be careful and you shouldn't have any issues. I don't know why it won't go back together, unless they made the belt. Maybe I'm doing it this way. No, definitely goes this way. Anyway, this comes off so that you can use the other accessory. This is posable, by the way, so that's cool. But the other accessory is that he takes his belt off and uses it like he's snapping somebody with a towel, and that's what this is. So you put that in his hand. Not this hand, there's no hole in it. He has an accessory hand for holding this. So it's got a peg hole in it. You put the big piece on the top, and then you put the little piece in the bottom, like this. And of course I'll post pictures at the end of the video so you guys can see it. And that's good enough for now. So it just looks like he's swinging the towel. That's what that's for. And obviously, not the towel, the belt, like a towel. If he's got it in his hand, he can't have it on his waist. So that's why this piece is here. I'm going to have to finagle this and see why it's not going to go back on. It should be just snapping right back in place. I know it'll snap back in place with the other belt on. I don't know why it's not going back on now. Wow, it just takes a lot of force. Be careful with that, guys. That's going to really limit the articulation also. Be really careful with that. You don't want to break anything. But it's cool that they included that accessory, and obviously they didn't want it to look too bulky, but it's really tight. So just use a little bit of caution, but there's that. We're going to take that off, though, for now, so that I can show you this. I'll show you this right now just so I can put it back together. These are individually hinged, kind of, on these little pegs. Each part of his shirt is, well, the back part's all one piece, but we have 3 parts here that allow the shirt to move around for the hip articulation. So that's really cool. I appreciate that they thought that far into it. I was really impressed when I first noticed that. So let's put this back together so that we can actually pose the guy. Alright, let's get into the other accessories. Alternate head, yelling face. Definitely going to use this more than the standard face. I also think it's a better likeness because the eyes are slightly closer together. That's really the only main difference. This one, the eyes seem slightly far apart. Definitely not bad though. This likeness just strikes me as a little bit closer. Plus, he'll probably be yelling anyway because he's kind of a jerk. And so I'm going to use that head. But those just pop on, standard ball peg. We also get this head, which you can put on this figure. Although I really don't recommend it. It's a little bit too small. It goes with this figure. And if you haven't seen the show, you won't understand why, but it does go with this figure. And I think even if you're not a huge Gundam fan, G-Gundam is a good one to watch because it's not all politics and this government did this and this government did that. Sure, it's about governments, but it's not nearly as political as the other one, so I would check it out. And then lastly, we have some hands. He has 2 fist hands on him in the package. You already saw the accessory hand. He has one for the right side as well, so 2 accessory holding hands. 2 palm hands, and 2 jazz hands. This show is full of dance sequences, so that's what these are for. Not really, of course. So he's got a decent array of hands. He's got the belt or towel whipping accessory. He's got the piece that swaps in for that, which I really appreciate they included that. It makes for nice posing. I do wish it was a little bit looser, but no big deal. Interchangeable head, extra head for the other figure, posable hair. Really can't complain so far. Lots of cool stuff. Let's talk about the articulation. The head is on a slightly new type of ball hinge. It's a little bit different design, but it swivels around in the neck. And then, of course, the head pegs on, so it'll swivel there, and it's hinged. The neck is on at least a single ball peg, so that's good. You can pose the neck with the head to make it look more natural. The shoulders are a really nice design. I haven't seen this before. Maybe on a Kamen Rider or somebody they've used it before. But we still got the classic ball peg that connects to the torso with that little cup going around it inside. So we have an entirely new shoulder design, which is really nice. I haven't seen a figure with this particular style design, the way it tucks in everywhere and has the jacket going over it, but it still works really well, and you can drop it down and bring the arm up and do anything you really want to do, and it works really, really nicely. And then we have the bicep swivel. We have the Broly style elbow, which is a little thicker, and I think it carries the sculpt a little bit better, so I'm happy with that. And then we have the wrist hinge, which is just like the neck. Those wrists will just pop on there. So far, pretty good batch of accessories, range of motion, batch of articulation, whatever you want to call it. This upper torso joint doesn't seem entirely necessary. It doesn't have the greatest range of motion, but it is there. But you're going to get most of your posability out of this lower torso joint. It leans from side to side, forward and back, and the belt hides it pretty well for the most part. I don't really see this upper one as being necessary, but it is there, and it can aid in some posing, so it's not a problem. It's just something I noticed. And again, this is on a little ball peg, so you can pose that around. These will move. I didn't even realize that at first. It all looked like one sculpt, but these will move out of the way for you, so you can use the hip articulation, which is pretty standard style of hip articulation for SH Figuarts, but it's a little bit different design. Looks a little sturdier, so that's cool. You can still hinge down these ball pegs, pull them down to give yourself better range of motion, and you can pose his legs no problem at all. So that ball peg's gonna move around in that socket, and then you have a thigh swivel on top of that socket to give him all the articulation you need. His knees look really good when the legs are straight. Not so bad when you start to move them a little bit, but when you move them all the way, that kneecap is a little strange looking, but you'll kind of your eye will not notice it, so it's not bad at all. I think it's probably going to be too expensive for them to sculpt into these actual hinges, and that's why we just get the little kneecap piece. Sculpted hinges would look better, but it's not necessary, and this looks fine, so I'm alright with it. Then the ankles, I still don't understand this, and I mean that literally. I'm not trying to make a point here. I don't understand why they use these riveted hinges in the ankles but nowhere else. It seems to me that it would look better and function better if they used smaller ones that were just all plastic, but there's got to be a reason, so I'm gonna leave that up to them. But at least on this figure, unlike Trunks or some of the other ones that have had this, he's got pretty decent range of motion for the ankle, and you can rotate it around and give him his ankle rocker. You still get those ugly rivets or whatever you want to call that in there, but it's no big deal. It works well. It's a little thick, but I think we can live with it, and I'm okay with it. And then the toe hinge, pretty similar to the DBZ figures, almost useless, so that's not necessary, but it's not going to hurt the figure any because it doesn't really look bad other than having the metal. I just don't understand why they put the metal in the feet when they don't do it anywhere else. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know. Still a really cool figure. If you are a G-Gundam fan, then definitely pick this up. You should have Master Asia fighting Domon next to your God or Shining Gundam. fighting the Master Gundam. I think that would be cool. That's what I'm going to do. You should do it too. I'll post some photos here at the end so you can see what the figure looks like in action, but I think you should pick it up. It's nice. It's got some cool shading throughout it. It's a cool figure. I like it and I recommend it. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting. Let me put him in a pose first. There, he's doing a kick. There you go. In the meantime, keep collecting.